When you think of great Christmas movies, there's probably so many that come to mind. A Christmas Story, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Home Alone movies. There really is just limitless classic Christmas movies. But there's one Christmas movie which is said to be the worst. One of the worst films ever created. Despite having quite a lot of passion behind it and quite a few talented people working on it, this movie was an absolute disaster. The movie only aired once and then became lost for years. This is the story of scummy business practices, a decade-long search, and one horrible Christmas movie. And I'm going to be going over the entire history of it in this video. The story starts with one man, Collin Slater. He founded a couple different movie studios, such as J. Rose Productions with another one of his business friends, and Wolf Tracer Studios that was founded probably around 2002. Now, to my knowledge, he either stopped working on the J. Rose Productions business, or he ended up merging the two companies to just be Wolf Tracer Studios, or he just put his main focus towards Wolf Tracer Studios, because I couldn't find much information about J. Rose Productions, so Wolf Tracer Studios is basically the main Collin kind of business that he used throughout his film career. Collin wanted to make a memorable Christmas movie, maybe even one for generations to remember, and it would be hailed as a Christmas classic. But that didn't really happen. He decided to make it a 3D animated film, which was definitely quite difficult back then in 2002. He decided to make it with 3D Choreographer, and all you need to know now is that this was not a good animation software for movies or TV specials. And even many people working on the movie stated that it was difficult to work with multiple times. There was also a big team of popular voice actors. Most well known is Mark Hamill, who played Luke Skywalker in some Star Wars movies, and Nancy Cartwright, who voices Bart Simpson and tons of other Simpsons characters. She also had a producer's credit on the movie for some reason. My theory is that she just maybe helped fund the movie, but I'm not 100% sure. A prototype was found on a Wolf Tracer's demo reel, featuring their other movie, Dinosaur Island, which I'm also going to be getting into later. And there were some pretty noticeable changes, such as it had different animation. Some people even say they prefer this animation over the final product. Also, some notable things was that at the end, there was some concept art of the characters, and the name wasn't Rapsittie Street Kids, but it was named Bash Street Kids. But they ended up changing it due to a copyright. So Collin and his team got to work, and after $500,000, which is $500,000, and it was made only in allegedly 4 months, the film was finally finished. Warner Brothers approved the movie, and it aired once on the WB, now known as CW, on December 25th of 2002. There were also some theories that it aired on other networks like Cartoon Network, but that hasn't been confirmed yet, so those are likely false. And for years, there was never any footage of it that was recorded on DVD or VHS, and there were never any physical, real releases of the movie. And the reception to the movie was not great. Message board posts from 2002, the IMDb page, and some online reviews were some of the only proof of the existence of the movie. And thus, it was kind of just lost. It only aired once, some people talked about it, and that seemed like the end. Nobody was really interested in the movie, and nobody really remembered the movie besides from those who saw it and, mocked the movie and said that it was very bad online. But years later, there was something interesting that happened. A lost media search started with the movie. People were actually getting interested in this movie being found again. And there was one man who ended up finding the movie. And that man was Dykate. He's actually the founder of the Lost Media Wiki, one of the possibly the biggest site for lost media on the entire internet. Hell, I even used it to help with this video, so that's pretty cool. In an interview on YouTube, Dykate explained his troubles and triumphs of trying to get the movie from Collin. and Daikei talked with Collin to buy the movie for 150 Australian dollars. Now, the movie was on something called a digi-data tape, which is something where it's kind of like a VHS tape, but only for airing movies on TV. And it costed Collin $125 to port the movie to his PC, but then it was declined. The 150 Australian dollars was declined due to Collin accidentally transferring 2 copies of the movie, and it costed him $250. So Daikei just kind of waited for some time, and then January 1st of 2015, he ended up paying 350 Australian dollars, which is twice as much that he was originally going to pay, and Daikei waited till July of 2015 with no word from Collin about the movie. And at that time too, Dinosaur Island was found and uploaded by Collin himself. So Daikei went into the comments and basically told him like, hey, where's the movie? But then Daikei checked his inbox and he already had the movie. It was just sitting in his inbox and he didn't know. And Daikei finally released the movie as the final piece of media for his Found Media Week that was going on. And let's just say it was definitely the most interesting thing during that Found Media Week. And now, with the movie released online and finally being found, I get to see if this movie is really as bad as people say. So I'm going to watch this movie. This is Rapsittie Street Kids Believe in Santa, the worst Christmas movie you haven't seen. The movie starts with an intro where there are like snowflakes and stuff, and honestly some pretty good music. I'm not gonna lie, the music in this movie isn't that bad. But anyways, the snowflakes are kind of just rolling around. It kind of looks like a wheel for some reason. It's just really weirdly animated. And then it shows a really blurry background image for some reason. I don't know how they oversaw this. Like, I don't know how they didn't make it look better. But anyways, then there's a school bus and a ton of different little characters walk out, and then we are introduced to our main character, Ricky. Honestly, Ricky's not that bad of a character. He was probably my favorite throughout the film, because he was honestly just a basic main character. But he does have a couple little traits to him. First of all, he's kind of just a wannabe rapper who talks in rhymes for like half the film.
This is how I'm living. But if you kindly find the time, deliver gifts 7, 8, and 9 from my list. I'm not selfish, I'm just driven. I've been a good boy through the year, you better know it. Get ready, Santa Claus, to start decking the halls with gifts from my Christmas list.
And as Ricky is walking down the street, he looks at some Christmas toys and is sad because he is poor. He only has like quarters and a snowflake that just melts in his hand. And also in the toys, there's this extremely, genuinely scary looking bee. I have no idea what they were thinking when they put this in there. And of course, the one thing sticking out like a sore thumb is the animation. It's bad. As I mentioned before, it was animated in a software that wasn't meant for movies, and already, for the short little films that it was made for, it looks like garbage. So I don't know how. I have no idea how this is actually on TV. The animation is horrible. One example is that there's like 3D houses and floors and like the ground and stuff, which is 3D. But then there's weird 2D PNG images, like the signs, trees, and some like snowmen at some point. It's just so weird. Also the trees, some look like kind of cartoon trees and other ones look like full on just real PNGs. No idea what they were thinking. Anyways, Ricky walks to his house and he says that he misses his mom and he loves this little bear that his mom gave him because, quote, he wants to give it because of love. So he wants to forward this gift that his mother gave him because of love to someone who he loves. What a sweet storyline. I bet this won't have any crazy implications and plot twists later on. It is now the next day, and it is shown that the characters are going to the Rapsittie Elementary, quote, striving for excellence. And more characters are introduced at the school, such as Nicole, Smithy, Todd, and his little bully friends, basically. They're all kind of just chilling at school, messing around, and Ricky is set to decorate the tree. But he's juggling for some reason. Ricky then throws some random stuff on the tree and then does a little rap, and then the tree falls on Ricky and the glass shatters literally in his eyes. Literally glass just shatters on him. Also, for some reason, everyone, even like some of his friends, just straight up despise Ricky, despite the fact that he's the only slightly sensible person in this entire film. And after the tree is basically destroyed, Ricky's friend, who is the scarf guy, Smithy, comes over, and Ricky says that he still loves the tree, and then it shows the tree, and it looks like actual garbage. And then, this is one thing with the animation, as I was saying. There's some very noticeable, like, texture clipping with the characters. Really easy to see here with, like, Ricky and Smithy. And, anyways, continuing with the story. Ricky says that he really likes Nicole. That's basically the main kind of plot of this. And then the teacher says, okay, like, let's go sit down at our seats. But the teacher is straight up so mean and strict for no reason. Literally, like, they were literally just chilling out, and the teacher, like, actually yells at them, which is just out of nowhere.
Now sit down, please.
Also, what was she doing the whole time? Just standing around while they were decorating the tree? Like, why are you getting mad at them? You weren't doing anything. And then some time passes, and it is time for recess. The teacher explains that when they return, they can exchange gifts because, remember, this is about Christmas. But Ricky wants to do it now, for some reason. Dude is just so eager for this. But the teacher says, nah, and they just go outside. And also I realized here, which is one of the weirdest things, is that Smithy always has a sandwich with him. Not just like a little sandwich or whatever, but a full-on like Subway footlong sandwich. And yeah, it looks like absolute garbage because of the animation. And it's just so random. It's just a random thing that never really gets brought up that much, besides from like to start conflict at some points. Anyways, they're all outside just having fun, making snowmen and having snowball fights and stuff. And then the bullies are all pissed at Smithy, and as they're running, they T-pose. So they're like chasing Smithy, and they sort of just T-pose on this like flat PNG. It looks actually horrible. And there's even like some weird top-down view afterwards. It's really bad looking. Anyways, more T-posing from Nicole and some other girl while they were ice skating, and then after being outside, they go back inside. And while they're inside, Todd is basically just bullying Smithy, as he deserves. And Smithy, I don't know how to explain this, but Smithy gets so mad, he knocks the sandwich out of Todd's hands, because Todd took the sandwich. Smithy gets so mad that he starts eating the sandwich. That's really all I could grasp from this weird animation. He just gets so mad, it goes in his scarf and he starts eating it. Man, I don't even know. And also, it is time for giving gifts and stuff. Nicole got a deer from a grab bag that she got from the other girl, and she just absolutely hates it. And then the other girl is sad because she was like, man, I spent like all my life savings on that. And then, at some point, literally the blue hair guy starts bullying some girl, and literally starts speaking, and he sounds like the top 10 guy. Chills. Listen to this.
Oh, ow! Miss Parrington, get him away from me!
Get him away from me.
Number 15. Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you'd want in your Burger King burger is someone's foot fungus, but as it turns out, that might be what you get.
Actually insane. Then the teacher realizes school is almost over at 3 o'clock, and some bald guy enters the room and wishes a happy holidays. And then the teacher explains how she's gonna be spoiled rotten to the core when she gets home because it's Christmas. It's such a random plot point that never gets brought up at all. It's just to basically just draw out the film for no reason. And then class is dismissed after that. And now class is dismissed. Everyone's kind of just like chilling outside, and the bullies are annoying Ricky about his bear toy because he brought it. And Nicole comes over to Ricky, and she first says, I don't know why you invited me over here. We have nothing to talk about. And then she basically just says she doesn't believe in Santa, and she just says stuff like that. And then Nicole notices the bear and says this line, "I know that's mine, it better be good." Despite the fact that literally like 10 seconds ago, she said, "What do we have to talk about?" Literally saying that she doesn't know why she's there, and then she just instantly assumes that the gift is for her. So, I don't really understand that. It makes not really any sense to me. I guess, like, she's just so narcissistic that she instantly thinks that the thing Ricky has is for her, or maybe she instantly assumed that... I don't know. It just makes no sense to me at all. It's just weird. Anyway, Ricky gives Nicole the bear, and she instantly just flips out and yells at him, saying that she despises the gift, and she just, like, despises Ricky in general, too. And Ricky just looks up at her like a sad dog. So Ricky's sad, and he literally just calls her stupid and runs away. And then Nicole throws the bear away in a dumpster near the school. It then cuts to Nicole and the other girl hanging out. They're kind of just walking along the neighborhood, and then she sees Ricky at his home. And then she makes fun of him because he has a candle on his table.
Ricky, who gave you that candle?
That's not like a reasonable thing to make fun of, a candle. She specifically says a candle. She makes fun of that. Anyways, then we're introduced to the all-time best character in all of cinema, the great grandmother. And she's basically outside and she yaps about kids nowadays.
Oh, see, kids nowadays.
But you might notice her audio sounds weird. That is because her voice actor's audio files got messed up and they decided to not redo them, not have a different voice actor, but keep them in the film. Throughout any kind of dialogue that she has, there's like one that isn't corrupted. Any dialogue that she has is fully messed up, and I'll show all the clips, by the way. When is the time? It is absolutely outstanding how this was even able to pass production. I would genuinely, my jaw dropped. I was flabbergasted beyond belief that this was on TV at one point. The fact that they didn't fix this is insane. But anyways, back to Ricky. Ricky is writing a Christmas list, and in that list, he wants a video box, which is supposed to be either like a DVD player, VHS player, or a video game console, but literally couldn't have came up with a more, like, unique name than video box. Okay. And he also asked for Santa to send toys to all the kids in his class, even Nicole. And then there's an insane lore drop. Ricky basically confirms that his mother died after she gave him that bear as like a final gift. Genuinely really sad. And like that's... Sure, Nicole's like a total asshole for throwing that bear away then. What an absolute douchebag. That's seriously so... I mean, she didn't know, but still, like... Actually insane lore drop. When that happened, my jaw hit the floor, dude. That was crazy. Ricky then says bye to his grandma and he goes to send the letters. But while walking, the card that he wrote to Santa starts straight up just flying in the air. Not even like realistically floating, but flying in the air. And it lands in Nicole's yard while Ricky doesn't notice. He goes back, and then later on, Nicole says that she doesn't believe in Santa and bullies the other girl for saying that Santa is real, and the other girl runs away because she's sad about that. Then while inside the house, Nicole is just being narcissistic, tells her mother that she's been good all year, and even stating that she's the, quote, best kid. Then, while Nicole is in her room, she just starts a musical number, and it's about how good she is. She flexes her narcissism. She states that, specifically she states as a line that she cleans her teeth twice a day and her ears are so clean.
Look at me, brush my teeth twice behind my ears.
that doesn't constitute being the best kid in the world, but okay, sure. She then states that Santa will see that she's the best kid in the world, despite stating a minute ago that she doesn't even believe in Santa, which doesn't make any sense. And, like, she even states that Santa is, quote, the best guy she knows. She literally has stated multiple times that she doesn't believe in Santa, so how does that even make any sense? It seriously doesn't make any kind of sense. But anyways, the song itself isn't that terrible, but it's not really good or enjoyable either. I think it's good-ish just because, like, the voice actors aren't bad, and Nicole's voice actor isn't bad, even while singing. So, it's not that bad, but it's not great. And then after that, Nicole is T-posing in her room and, quote, dancing. Of course, just the animation just shines in this moment. Also something, Nicole has the ugliest wallpaper I've ever seen. It's just like a PNG of an apple over and over in a pattern. It looks horrible. And then it cuts to the other girl. She is in her house and in her room, and she starts to not believe in Santa due to Nicole's anti-Santa propaganda from before. Her mom states that her dad got a Christmas tree and her Nana is coming too, and tells her to cheer up because it's Christmas. Nicole then finally notices the letter and goes out to read it, and then she feels bad, because remember, she threw away the bear, and in this letter, Ricky wrote how his mother died after, literally before giving him that bear. And then it cuts back to the house, and the great granny is saying something. You seriously cannot even understand what she is saying at all.
You just got to Fortnite it.
Isn't that what Santa does? It was from my heart.
Oh, see, for the now.
She doesn't get it.
Oh, Christmas. Oh.
How? When I feel so bad.
And then it cuts to probably later in the day, I assume. They never really stated, but probably later in the day. And the bullies are just bullying Nicole outside of the school because she's trying to look for the bear. So Nicole, the other girl, and Smithy are all looking for the bear. And Smithy starts saying sexist remarks for some reason. It kind of becomes a weird trend with him. It's really, really weird and messed up. And then the bullies say that all of them smell bad. Smithy then states that the bear is probably dead and Nicole killed it, and it's gone to, quote, trash heaven. Bro, the bear literally was given to Ricky literally before his mom died. You can't state that, Smithy. This is the point where you notice that Smithy is just possibly worse than Nicole at this point. This is like the turning point for the villain. It was from Nicole as the bad character. Now it's Smithy. Smithy is just the total asshole from now on. And then they can't find it in the trash, so they decide to explore the basement of the school. They kind of just stand there and they search around with no luck. Smithy makes another sexist comment, of course. So they decide to just go to the junkyard because, I mean, if it was in the trash, it was probably at the junkyard because, you know, the trash vehicle came probably. So the bullies scare them when they exit the basement. Then it cuts to the junkyard and the bullies are one step ahead and are already hiding at the junkyard with, quote, a secret plan. Then Ricky, Nicole, and the other girl enter the junkyard and are scared away by these dogs. These dogs look disgusting. They look horrifying, dude. They're actually so scary looking. And then they decide to hide on top of the cars. Nicole says the only funny joke in the entire movie.
What are we gonna do?
I have a great idea.
What? Have a picnic?
Genuinely kind of a funny joke. And then Smithy throws his sandwich at Todd. The dogs then chase the bullies because they smelled the sandwich, I guess. So finally, the sandwich was put to use, even though Smithy kind of ate the sandwich before. I don't know, maybe he made another one. Then they see the bear just on a car for some reason. It was just on top of a car. So they exit the junkyard and they take the bear and they need to get over this wall. They get over the wall after a little bit of discourse, and the dogs try to chase them again. And Nicole now has the bear, goes to Ricky's house to give him the bear, and says sorry. Ricky says some stuff about friendship and lets Nicole keep the bear. because he was like, but Nicole, I wanted to give this bear to you. It was a signature, a little sign of love and gesture and stuff. Remember from before. It then cuts to the other girl's house, and I know I keep calling her the other girl, but it's literally just because I keep forgetting what her name is, and I don't feel like searching it up, and I've already written it in the script, so who cares? So it cuts to the other girl's house and shows the family chilling out, reminiscing on Christmas memories. Then the other girl goes upstairs, quite sad, and sits on her bed. Her dad tries to cheer her up with some extra Christmas cheer, says Santa is on his way, and shows her Santa out the window. But the Santa out the window is just clouds in the shape of Santa Claus's face. I guess that's a sign that that's Santa coming to give gifts and stuff. So then the other girl breaks out into another musical number. There's a second musical number here now, about believing in Santa, and her dad starts singing it too. And again, it's not bad, but it's a lot shorter than the other one. And then she basically just falls asleep in bed, and then it cuts to the next day, which is Christmas Day. Nicole states it's Christmas and goes downstairs to see her parents. And she goes to open the presents, and guess what she gets? A video box, the same thing that Ricky wrote in his note that he wanted to get. She then asked if she can go to Ricky's house and just leaves without opening more presents. Like, if I was a parent, like the parents, you would assume they'd be like, oh, wait until you finally open all your presents, or like, oh, like you can't go over right now, but they just let her go over and they're just chilling at the house, I guess then. I don't know, it's kind of random. She then wraps up the gift and goes to Ricky's with the gift. She says Santa gave it to the wrong house. Ricky questions that, but she assures him it's his. He opens it and he is quite happy. Nicole then says that they can go all hang out at the other girl's house too. Then it cuts to the other girl's house, and okay, so there's a weird thing. So it's Christmas, right? And before, when they were all hanging out and stuff, the other girl has a younger sister, and there was this one joke about how she wanted a pony. Okay, like, oh, it's funny, you know, this little child wants to have an entire horse that you would need to feed for probably years and would have to take care of for years. Probably very expensive. But then this joke ends up being true, and they look out the window and the little kid actually gets a pony, and the pony is so ugly. It looks like the dog from before. It is genuinely disgusting looking. It actually caught me off guard too, because like it just seemed like a one-off joke, but whatever, I guess. And then everyone shows up at the other girl's house. Ricky, the great-grandmother, Smithy, and Nicole all show up. Nicole apologizes to the other girl for the stuff about not believing in Santa. You know, she apologizes for all that propaganda that she said earlier. Ricky then does a little rap about Christmas and how he loves Christmas. The great-grandma then says that she still believes in Christmas to this day. And then she yaps about something and says Christmas.
Do you know what, Nicole? I never stopped believing in Santa. And you don't have to stop either.
I won't. That makes two of us.
Great Grandma, you always know just what to say.
Christmas.
Truly, truly inspirational there. And then, out the window, they all see Santa's shadow and they all say, "Believe in Santa." Ricky says Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all. And then you would assume the movie ends. That would be the closing line. But then, quite possibly, the best closing line to any film to ever exist is said,
And a Merry Christmas to all.
Shut that door.
Shut that door. Yeah, just shut that door. And that's the final line in the entire film. And then the credits roll. What a way to end a film. Absolutely fantastic there. I'm just in disbelief right now. Also, I'll just talk about a little bit of the things in the credits as well. During the credits, it shows like tons of little snowflakes, and there's a snowman off to the left. And during the credits, the snowman winks when it shows directed by Collin Slater, supposedly hinting to the fact that he barely did any work on the film, but, like, even someone made a YouTube short about this, but the thing is, it would make sense, but the snowman winks at other times too, during other people's names, so it doesn't really make any sense at all. And also the song during the end credits isn't that bad either. I think there's like a full upload of it on YouTube by Collin himself. And something really interesting, it says a CD soundtrack is available, like an actual CD soundtrack is available to purchase. But I've never seen any evidence of it actually being made, and I don't think it was ever made before. And then it also says www.believeinsantamovie.com. Now, I have not even went on the link yet, but I will go on it right now. I really hope I don't get a virus. Okay, it doesn't really have anything. It's just one of those like websites where you can kind of like buy the domain, I think. It says like full online MBA minted Christmas car. I think it just is a defunct like site right now. Thank God I didn't get a virus though. Okay, I'm editing right now, and I found on the Wayback Machine a old archive of the website right here. And it shows, it's more of like a Wolf Tracer Studio website. There's stuff like projects, which shows some of their projects. There is services, which shows like different services, I guess. I don't know what they were servicing. There's a portfolio with some really good looking character design. There was design, which shows different, like, I guess, like, design stuff, like, interactive CD and game design. Yeah, they were a game studio, too, I guess. Animation, which shows, like, some different animations that they made. Then there's interactive, which has, like, DVDs, CDs, web, and e-promo. Half of them I couldn't even go on, but they don't say anything. They're just coming soon. And there's also a company part, which just talks about the company, I guess, and a contact page. So it's actually interesting that they had this as a website, and then it got changed into like some other websites. Like there was a store one, and I don't think this is Rapsittie Street Kids. And then after the credits are finally done, it says that the Rapsittie Kids will be back with A Bunny's Tale, which was going to be an Easter film, but it was cancelled, sadly. Actually, maybe happily. Also, the grandma says something at the end, but I seriously have no idea what she says. I think she just, like, does a little funny yapping thing. And that was the film. It was bad. This is my conclusion. It was bad. The script was poorly written, and it had difficult to follow plots and a timeline. Dialogue wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but that could just be because the voice actors were pretty good that they actually hired for the film. But there were still some parts of the dialogue that didn't fit the tone or mood. Specifically, the teacher and Smithy specifically stick out. Probably because of their voice actors, it just didn't fit the tone of the movie as much at some points. The story was also pretty bland and basic. Some parts were kind of unique, like the junkyard and the basement, and the fact it took place kind of on like one street, the Rapsittie Street, but they didn't really flesh it out that much, I feel. Kind of besides from the street aspect, but still, it kind of only was brought up in a few parts of the film. That also could be because of the length of the film, which was 42 minutes, so it's technically a Christmas special, but those are also usually counted as movies, so it's technically a movie. And of course, the animation was horrendous, with bad character models, clipping being very noticeable, basically no good lighting stuff at all, weird character movements like doing T-poses and just movement cycles sometimes, but then sometimes just staying there and doing nothing, not even blinking at sometimes, and T-posing, and also a mix of 3D and 2D different models and stuff was super strange and weird, and it just didn't fit. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the film with the 2D objects and 3D areas. And I'd probably end it here. But there's one more thing. This is quite possibly the most important thing of any Christmas film. How Christmassy is it? And what I mean by that is when you watch a Christmas film, you kind of think like, oh, that was a pretty Christmassy movie, or oh, that wasn't really that Christmassy. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say it's like a 4 or 5. Not super un-Christmassy feeling, but also nothing was really too Christmassy special, I guess. I mean, there was snow and stuff, but it didn't really have a super duper like Christmassy story. Or not even anything like super unique like Home Alone or whatever. But it's not entirely devoid of all things Christmassy and jolly. Like there was always snow and decorations, but it also didn't go out of its way to feel Christmas-like. And yeah, the film is not good. I honestly would not recommend it unless you love bad movies, or you really want to watch it for some reason, or you want to, I guess, do your own YouTube review of it. Overall, this movie's bad. Don't watch it. It did not deliver on what I expected, but at the same time, it wasn't as bad as I thought. I feel like it's just because so many like film reviewers always throw temper tantrums while reviewing this movie, but it wasn't as bad as I thought, mostly because of the voice cast, but it was still bad. Don't watch this movie. It was a waste of time. So, I've reviewed the film. You probably know what it is by now if you watched the review part. And now, I'm going to talk about what other people thought of the film. This is kind of going to be in two sections. The first section is going to be when the film released, and the second section is going to be what kind of like YouTubers thought of the film when it became found media again. Now, when the film released, the only thing I could find online of people talking about it was the forum post that I was talking about. It was more of a forum thread. And it was when the film was, I'm pretty sure, probably airing. It was December of 2002 as well, so that's basically definitive proof. So I'm going to be reading over what people said in this thread and what people's kind of like thoughts were. Oh my god, is anybody watching this? It's on the WB right now, and it is unbelievably horrible. How did this show get made and put on the air? I hate to rip on it because some folks somewhere worked on it, but goodness gracious, I have never seen anything truly this horrific in my life. Here's the link to the website. Then it shows the link of the website that I talked about earlier. Go to movie clips and check out the Believe in Santa pre-visualization. The previs actually looked a little bit better than the final show. Sorry to beat on the folks that worked hard on this, but this is like the gallery abominate so bad you can't look away. Nope, sorry. There's no way I'm going to believe that this aired on national television. Show me proof. I believe in Santa more than I believe that Warner Brothers is that suicidal. That's what I couldn't believe. I was flipping around a commercial and ran across it. Everyone in my family just stared at each other in awe that this could be on the air. My wife actually missed football because we just couldn't look away. What's crazy is that in the bio section, it says that the lead animator worked on The Matrix 2. Wow. After some extensive detective work with the Jim Cold Tea, we managed to find some credible evidence that the POS is actually real. Go to the link and it'll tell you when it'll air in New York. I'm going to animate my ass cheeks in 3D and sell that for a Valentine's special. Whatever you do, don't miss it. It's an amazing train wreck of a show. It should inspire everyone that if something this bone-breakingly bad can get on the air, then anything can. Lamau, thanks for the link. I thought it was a joke. So I did a Google search on Damon Knight, their lead animator, and I found this. This came up further down on the page. I don't think he animated on this show, lol, or some bad mocap data. I checked the company that did this, Wolf Tracer Studios, on Google, and didn't get any luck, but a name Collin Slater came up. I checked that, found this homepage, which didn't work, so I found nothing about the company. That's pretty much as far as I went. So it says it airs on 1 p.m. December 21st on ABC EH. Gotta check it to see how bad it is. Thanks for the link, guys. This is absolute crap. I'm laughing and crying at the same time. Okay, this is definitely real. However, there has to be something behind the fact that this horrendous piece of garbage is actually on the air. I propose two theories, both of which were discussed between myself and D_Hasbury, as well as my wife and numerous other animators. One, some television executives' offspring was given the chance to put their introductory animation classwork on TV. Or two, something much greater is at work here, most likely the devil. I know I sound harsh, and as a teacher, I always try and find the positive aspects of any work. However, I can honestly say I find no redeeming value in here. In fact, it's this kind of crap that makes already cynical TV viewers say, I hate that holiday crap. Can we please raise our standards? Or as Butthead would say, stop in the name of all that does not suck. Wow. In the name of all things holy, how is this possible? I was very skeptical. I found this on tvguide.com. How can God let this happen? Especially on Christmas. I think any self-respecting artist should be as shocked and appalled as I am that this atrocity is allowed to be broadcast. I'll be watching it though, if for no other reason than to find out who the heck sponsored this thing. I'd love to know which corporations are naive enough to purchase advertising during this thing. Whoever they are, I will certainly be sure not to partake in any of their products since they have been shown such a lack of common sense and good judgment. On a side note, my eyes are bleeding. Wow. Surprised? Wow. Insane. I just watched that pre-visualization movie and teaser. This actually looks a lot worse than some of this gallery abominate stuff. Seriously, wow. Not to be overly cruel, is that possible? But my theory on this lovely holiday animation that is destined to become a classic is that this film is the result of a horrible experiment involving the use of dumb cybernetic lab monkeys to create neural motion capture. Also, the monkeys were on drugs. This is really bothering me. After being so utterly horrified by the piss-poor quality of the previs, and noting my false statement that the previs actually looked a little bit better than the final show did, I did some more digging to find out how it's possible that these people managed to create this plague for the eyes. Honestly, I don't think it was possible for a human being to create something so frighteningly bad and want to show it to the public, or his cat for that matter. Anywho, I was reading throughout the bios of the creators of this atrocity. Go to cast and credits. And this is what I discovered. One of the producers named Collin Slater. He had made a series of animation film in the old-fashioned way, where 150 artists worked for 2 years painting cells. By 1995, he developed a system for doing animation very quickly on the computer. He had been familiar with computers since he bought one first. He first bought one back in 1978. Today, that system has progressed to be a lot cleaner and smoother, as at the heart of the system is a bank of 4,000. Okay, so basically this guy just like yaps about that stuff. For Believe in Santa, he and his crew were developing custom motions and actions. 5 seconds of screen time takes 20 minutes to finish. Regular computer animators would take several hours to complete the same work. Okay, terrific. They blasted through an hour's worth of animation in roughly 10 days. Great job, guys. The more I learn about this show, the more I'm starting to feel like I'm trapped in a bad episode of Twilight Zone. God help us all if any of this stuff gets ratings. I know that was not unbelievably insulting or what. Didn't anyone notice how horrible it looked? Does it really mean anything to say you have 4,000 canned motions when they all look that bad? As much as I was pissed off at someone of that, I do find it kind of inspiring that just maybe one of us could get something on the air. It's not totally and not to totally depress you, but they are applying all this same technology to an Easter special as well. But, you know, that didn't come out. This sucks. I'm going to watch this, but not tell anyone else because I don't want them to get any more TV ratings. An Easter special? Could they handle animating a bunny? Did some more searching on this site. They had 4 animators total, it looks like. They used a program called Dr. Jeffrey Friedman. To find where it says this on the site, go to credits and click on more. Later. I mean, we should actually invite someone from that company to defend themselves. Not to mention, it'll be really fun to see what kind of excuses they could come up with to defend their art. This is what I said. I think someone at your company should look at this. This is a forum at cgtalk.com discussing your Believe in Santa movie and its apparent lack of quality. If possible, please respond to either the forum or this email to shed some light on your decisions or reasons behind this horrible animation. Thank you, Dennis. And then that was the end of the thread. I know that was very long, but if you sat through that, thank you, because that was quite a bit to read all out in one quick sitting like that. But as you could see here, tons of people at the time of watching the film all agreed that it was basically just pure garbage. They were flabbergasted that it even was able to air, and they even talked a little bit about how it was kind of made and their theories about it, which is honestly really interesting. They all gave pretty, creative and funny criticisms of the movie, but they were all being serious as well. So it's really interesting to see this from a point of view of someone who watched the movie back when it came out. Honestly, it is a miracle that I found this thread and the fact that it's still around on the internet. Now I'm going to talk about some of the YouTubers who made videos on this film when it became found again. And the first one, shockingly enough, is Penguin Zero, aka Moist Critical. Now he didn't only make one video, but 2 videos on this film. They were both pretty short little reviews of them. In the first one, named Believe in Santa, he watched some of the film, he was criticizing the animation. He also was just very satirical and makes funny jokes that over-exaggerate the film. He also has lots of adult jokes, some were funny. He also mentions the voice cast. He also has some silly edits from clips of the movie that he edited and stuff. He also compares Ricky to Slim Shady. Yes, I fully agree with that. I think Ricky is better than Slim Shady, honestly.
Oh shit! Drop the mic. Those are some fucking bars right there. Will the real Slim Shady please sit down?
He also just has a very bland and straightforward voice, but it kind of makes it almost funnier. And the video was also very fast-paced, at only 5 minutes, and he stopped watching the film around before they went to the recess area. But he made a second video about it, named Believing in Santa. Basically, he finishes watching the movie and mentions his old review of it too. He still has very satirical jokes and adult jokes, but they're still very funny, despite this video being out 2 years later. He still has that monotone voice too. He shows more clips of the movie too, full clips with audio and stuff, which is cool. He also mentions that he has a theory that the grandma was either high or a Banjo-Kazooie character. Both very good theories, to be honest.
Grandma sounding like she's ODing on Xanax here and somehow Ricky's able to understand her. Literally sounds like a fucking Banjo-Kazooie dialogue scene here.
He also mentions the Gucci Gang song, because I guess that was popular around the time. He also had a couple more silly edits in this video too. He says that Nicole's mom looks like salad fingers. Fair enough. He also has a theory that the pony was taxidermied, which is honestly one of the best theories of any film I've heard. Better get MatPat on this. Also, the video was still pretty short at 8 minutes, and it was still very fast-paced. But they're both very good watches. He gives very silly and good criticism of the film. So, I highly suggest watching that. Okay, so this part was gonna be longer, but then I realized all that I recorded for it was really boring, and I didn't know how to make it really interesting. So, I'm just gonna mention Nostalgia Critic. He made a video on the movie. It was the first time I heard about the movie, I'm pretty sure. And it's a good video. It's a memorable video, honestly. And I think it's the most popular video talking about the movie. And basically, Nostalgia Critic just talks about the movie and some of the backstory of it, I guess. And something interesting in that is that he had an advertisement, a sponsor, from some app, and it was some social media app that failed probably, and it said to record your reaction to the Rapsittie Street Kids movie, and he picked out 3 of the best reactions, but there were only 2 of them and not a third one. I guess the third one was his reaction to the movie, which was his review, but I don't know, it was kind of random and weird. And yeah, he is just Nostalgia Critic, but he talked about the movie. It was kind of unfunny and cringe, but that's how every Nostalgia Critic video is. But it's a good video, so yeah. And also, I have a top comment on this video for some reason. I don't even remember commenting this, but I guess I got like almost 800 likes on it, so oh my god, I'm so famous. I'm so famous. Nostalgia critics literally, I'm famous in a Nostalgia Critic video. Now I want to do a little part talking about Collin Slater slash Wolf Tracer Studios' other animations and other little failed projects. Now, I couldn't find all of them, but I found a couple of them. Well, actually a few of them. The first is their weird sketch show named Not Quite Right. Just saying, do not watch this. This was quite possibly the biggest waste of time I've ever had in my entire life. The only clip of it is an 8-minute, I guess, episode of it that was uploaded on YouTube. And it was a failed sketch comedy show. They have a lot of weird, there's some funny-ish parts, I guess. Not even. But there were, just a lot of weird jokes. Strangely, a lot of, almost offensive and just disgusting and distasteful jokes in it, and it was just weird. There is, at the beginning, they made up, fake products, such as Nas Tea. It's like tea, but it's nasty, so it's, nasty. Real funny there. There's a weird, thing called, celebrity torture or something, and it was, where this dude got blended, and some dude was the host of the thingy. It was really weird. There was also just some random weird scenes that made zero sense at all. There were a lot of just random weird short clips saying next on Not Quite Right, and it would just show tons of random clips of stuff that were parodies of things, but they were just extremely unfunny and weird. All I gotta say, don't watch this. This is garbage. I'm happy that this failed, actually, because the animation looks disgusting. It feels like if you were... This is probably what it looks like when you're on, some kind of insane drug trip or something. Don't watch this. It is a waste of time, and it is pure garbage. Also, I'm pretty sure that, Collin Slater didn't have anything to really do with this, because it doesn't have him as a credit, so it was just made by some random people. But the next thing I'm talking about, I'm going to be a little bit more positive on, because it's not as bad. This was a short promo for a failed project named Junkbots. So basically in this, there's a little bot jumping around, and he gets in his weird little ship thing that also looks like a junk bot. There's 3 junk bots, a purple guy, a blue guy, and a green girl. They're all being hunted by some evil organization run by this evil dude. They fly away while being chased, and they crash land in a desert or a beach area, and that's where it ends. It's just a very short, couple-minute little test animation to kind of get it picked up as a film. Now, the thing, interestingly, is that it wasn't animated in 3D Choreographer, but I don't know exactly what it was animated in, but it still looks pretty bad and primitive. I think it was around 2002 or 2003, so it looks really bad, but it's kind of has almost a little charm to it, an early 3D animation charm to it. It's still bad, but it's a little bit better than, I guess, Rapsittie Street Kids, maybe. I don't know, kind of on par with how bad it is. But the guy who uploaded the video wrote some stuff about the backstory of it, and this is what he had to say. This is a promotional video sent to me by J.R. Horsting, a former employee of Wolf Tracer Studios, and the only footage ever made for the cancelled project Junkbots by Wolf Tracer Studios, known for the infamous Rapsittie Street Kids and Dinosaur Island films. The only info I have on it comes from the email JR included with the footage, along with a promo image and some other things he worked on. Quote, "It was a presentation for Wolf Tracers I produced and animated to move away from 3D Choreographer animation. We actually got lots of interest from distribution, yet we couldn't fund it quickly enough. We got close. Collin was going through a lot at the time, also 3D at the time was still expensive with crappy technology and not enough talent available for a small budget of only $1.4 million. We could do it now, and still might me and Dave Edison did most of the voices, with some other excellent employees. So basically, it was a failed little promo, but it never got picked up and funded quickly enough. But I'm interested on if it would have been kinda good if it was picked up. Yeah, the animation's bad, but maybe they could up it and make it look a bit better. But it didn't end up getting funded, and this is the only video evidence of it. Yet, I still think it's a little bit cool and a kinda interesting piece of Wolf Tracer history. And then there's Dinosaur Island. Dinosaur Island is honestly pretty boring, to be honest. Literally the whole time while watching the movie, I just had it on in the background. And so I didn't really fully watch it, but I did technically watch it. I just wasn't paying much attention. But this isn't about Dinosaur Island. This is about Rapsittie Street Kids. Mark Hamill is in this movie again as, I guess, the main character. Basically, the start is that there's like these pirates on a ship. Some dude straight up dives into the water, and the captain dives into the water too. And I assume that they died, but then a minute later it shows that the main guy, the first guy who jumped in, is alive. Then they ended up on this island. A dinosaur island. They basically just like hang around the dinosaur island. They find out there's some dinosaurs. They kind of chill out with them. And then later the main girl character befriends one of them and feeds it food, despite a minute earlier she tried to shoot a dinosaur.
Hungry? Eat this. Drat.
The main dude, Mark Hamill, he falls down a hole and he has to get out of it. And then another guy gets picked up by a dinosaur, falls on a tree branch with the only thing breaking his fall is his testicles. And then he gets a wedgie. The writing in this, just fantastic. And then here, I stopped taking notes, but nothing important even happens. I guess they find this weird, like, little tribe area, but there's just tons of people in masks and stuff. But then it shows that there's this main dude with a mask on, and then it turns out to be the other pirate captain, and it's like a little plot twist, and it's so flabbergasting. And basically he has this like thing that can like control dinosaurs or something, and he ends up taking the gem out of his mask and he makes a portal, and then he disappears. And then later on, the main cast, they all build a raft. The girl says her final goodbyes to the dinosaur from earlier, but then the evil captain is riding a T-Rex. It destroys the raft, and then it says, "To be continued." This is truly the most anticipated sequel that might never come out, Dinosaur Island 2. But yeah, this was really, really boring, even more boring than Rapsittie Street Kids. The animation is not any better, it looks like garbage, it's still bad, and it's technically the only other thing that people really know about Rapsittie Street Kids, like the only other animation. So it's decently popular, there's some reviews by big YouTubers, and it's more well known than like the other things that I mentioned before, like Not Quite Right and the man, I cannot remember the name right now, the one with the robots. Those were all the other projects I could find that were made by Wolf Tracer Studios, and despite being not as talked about as Rapsittie Street Kids, I still think that they definitely deserve to like spot in this video because they were all just so interesting, even if they were bad. And now I'm going to be talking about the thing that Rapsittie Street Kids was animated in, 3D Choreographer. So this is basically kind of like a summary from the Lost Media Wiki about it. It was released in 1992 and was available to use until 2006. It let amateur artists make 3D animations. It was sold as a computer tool, and there were two versions. The basic package was $199, and the deluxe was $349. It was then merged into one package for $109, with a 3D Choreographer Kids version that was made for elementary schools, and it let people, the software basically let people animate various different characters, like people, animals, humans, objects, etc. Just really whatever. And there were some pretty cool videos on YouTube. There's a video showing off a copy of it. It has stuff such as short pre-made animations. There was like a tutorial to make your own animations, and a way to like actually animate. And this video basically just shows all that kind of stuff. So it kind of gives a glimpse into basically what the software was like. But then there's a channel by the name of 3D Choreographer Archive. They basically uploaded different test animations and different things from the 3D Choreographer website. One of the most interesting things is a video called Rare 3D Choreographer Footage. It shows footage from a school where kids make animations with 3D Choreographer for school assignments and for fun. They would be in groups and they produce animations that would visually, quote, visually express the school's character education.
Worked in groups of 2, 3, or 4 to produce animations that would visually express the school's character education with traits such as respect, courage, and gender equality.
Some of the kids ended up commenting about the T-Rex, debating its gender, but literally before they were just talking about gender equality. The video ends off by saying that the students next year have a 6-week project to compose a DVD of 25 character traits, and it was supposedly going to be made by elementary school and middle schoolers. In my opinion, if a full team of animators, Wolf Tracer Studios, could not make a good animation with 3D Choreographer, how do you expect literal children to do better? I seriously don't understand that, but it was technically made for kids, so maybe it was just easy to use, but a team of fully grown adults decided to make 2 various different movies with this horrible software. And also, this video is actually on the 3D Choreographer website, and it was featured on it, so that's kind of cool. I mean, congrats to the school for doing that. There were some pretty cursed animations though, I can't lie. So I sadly couldn't find any footage of the animation process for Rapsittie Street Kids or any Wolf Tracer Studio stuff. But to close this section off with a good note, there is something really cool. There is a reanimated Rapsittie Street Kids project that was being made like a couple of years ago. And there's some genuinely really nicely animated things that were recreating scenes from Rapsittie Street Kids, but reanimated in a different art style, similar to something like Shrek Retold or the Spongebob movie Rehydrated. And these are honestly really cool. I kind of wish that they kept doing it, just a small team of dedicated fans who wanted to recreate the movie but reanimated to make it look good. But sadly it seems like it's kind of been abandoned, or at least stopped for at least the future for now. But still, it's really cool, and if they were to bring it back, I would absolutely check it out. And now I'm going to be talking about some other kind of like facts and things about the production history of Rapsittie Street Kids. Now, before I start this, I want to say that I found a lot of this info on a article by Polygon titled "The Making of the Worst Christmas Special of All Time." So I'm going to link it in the description because I got tons of info from it, and if you want to read it yourself, it's actually a really good read. And it gives like lots more info about the history of the making of this, you know, where I'm just going to be talking about some of the like highlights and stuff I wrote down. So I already went over quite a bit of the history at the beginning of this video. You know, Collin had dreams of making a memorable Christmas movie. He got his friend J.R. Horsting to help work on the film and be his work partner. He used 3D Choreographer, and he spent $500,000 to make the film, and he got tons of voice actors. But there's more to this story. JR didn't like the idea of 3D Choreographer. He said that it was a very bad program to work with, it was really buggy and stuff, but they only had 4 months to make the movie, and the thing is with 3D Choreographer, being able to render stuff was super quick on it, where with other early 3D animation kind of like softwares, it took a lot longer. Collin was very unprepared when he was making the film. He only had concept art and a script, and basically nothing else really, yet he was still able to convince a lot of voice actors to be a part of the film, with just the concept art and the script and the money that he had. Something interesting about the voice actors is, so of course the great-grandma, the most iconic character of the film, the great-grandma's voice actor, despite being speculated that her audio files were corrupted, she had this to say about it, quote, "They were like, great-grandma is disheveled, she can't get her words together," says Wilson. "So that had to be in the script. That's not audio, that's me. I can tell the difference. That's me." So I actually never knew about this, so maybe it is true, but also she says that the film was a long time ago and she doesn't remember much from it, so it still could be corrupted audio files, but also it could have been her producing that voice. There were a couple other people helping with Collin and JR on the team. One was D. Luca, sorry if I butchered that name, who helped convince Warner Brothers to air the film and helped Collin convince some people to be on board with the film. And there was Chris Rose, a close family friend of D. Luca, who helped form the production company J. Rose Productions. The main animation team consisted of JR, Damon Knight, and Dave Edison. All three have actually worked in real professional animations for years, but they even said that this film was one of the hardest things they had to make because they only had 4 months to produce a 40-minute Christmas special in a very janky and bad software. The software was so bad, in fact, that they couldn't even model anything. They had to ask the creators of 3D Choreographer to make models and send them back to JR and Collin for a fee. But that's crazy, literally having to ask them to make the models for Rapsittie Street Kids is insane. And the other models and assets were just basic ones from 3D Choreographer's catalog, or they'd make stuff in Photoshop, such as the snowflakes, toys, and trees. That's why they look so weird. Even though Collin was credited as the producer and basically creator of the film and company, he supposedly didn't do much work on the film. Quote from Edison, "Usually Slater would be out on the walkway on top of the stairs having a smoke while we were working." Another quote, "He'd just look over our shoulder every now and again and say, 'Good work, keep going.'" Collin was so confident in the film that he got Rose to spend another $200,000 to start production on the Easter film. Unhappy with the production of Rapsittie Street Kids, DeLuca asked Rose to ask Slater for a clip of finished animation, but Collin declined and they didn't see any animation clips in that meeting. The team, mainly Knight, was scared that the investment was basically all to waste and the film would be a disaster. Rose even called his father to rant about how the investment was a waste. He ended up coming to Collin and he ended up firing Knight because he kept talking about it. The film was now hanging on to any kind of hope, and only 2 animators and just days left to complete the film. Edison and JR spent 3 sleepless nights just working on the film, animating it. And amazingly, they got it done on time, and even under budget too. They even said that after the film was done, that if they used animation in any other 3D software, it would have taken too long. And that 3D Choreographer was a good choice for a short time, but at the cost that it, looked like garbage. At the time of release for the film, Collin said that he believed Rapsittie Street Kids would be a success. JR even started to believe so too. Slater paid the team an extra bonus for all their hard work. And at the time of release, the week after Thanksgiving, JR hosted a family get-together at his house, and he had his family over to see the film. He specifically had a difficult relationship with his father, with this being his second ever time going to his son's house. But when the film started, it exceeded his worst nightmare. Everyone watching was unhappy, with smiles fading and disappointed looks. Rose even left after 15 minutes and went to his room. The family only watched for 30 minutes before everyone left. and from his bedroom window, he watched as his dad left the house, started the car, and drove off. DeLuca's experience wasn't as bad. He was invited to JR's, but he didn't go. He had a VHS of the film and watched it with his parents. Quote from DeLuca, "I saw my parents die, and I'm not sure this wasn't as emotionally devastating as JR," he says. He says that night he promised himself that he would spend the next few years of his life finding some way to pay the Rose family back. JR and DeLuca both got $40,000 from the film's premiere on the Warner Brother channel. They even considered suing Wolf Tracer, but they didn't want to spend more time and money on the situation. And if you're wondering what Collin decided to buy, he bought a vintage Mercedes-Benz during production. Classic Collin Slater. And that was the production of Rapsittie Street Kids Believe in Santa. It was definitely a rocky production, with a lot of people just not seeming to be happy working on the film, besides from Collin, and a lot of short deadlines, and a lot of money going towards a bad film, and it was a very bad investment too. And basically everyone wasn't really happy working on it. I mean, they had to animate it in 3D Choreographer. But also, it seemed like Collin just had too big of an idea for the film. He wanted it to be a grand production, but he should have started it earlier and planned stuff out better. Really, I feel like a lot of the money went towards the voice actors, to be honest, because they did really good on the film, but it didn't end up saving the film at all. Now, I want to have this part talking about Collin Slater himself, and kind of the history of the man himself too. He was born on May 5th, 1948, in the UK, and his IMDb bio says that he was an executive producer of Wolf Tracer Studios Inc., which creates music-based animation for television and video. Over the years, Collin has produced over 2,000 hours of television and film. He has also been the music producer/publisher of over 400 albums since 1970, and over 4,000 hours of film and television scores in the 70s. He was managing director of Bay City Rollers Ltd., one of the most popular rock bands at the time. He has been inducted into the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. He has won 1 Grammy and had 2 ASCAP Songs of the Year. And he went on to make Rapsittie Street Kids Believe in Santa, Dinosaur Island. And he also founded Wolf Tracer Studios. And ultimately, it was kind of a failure. With only 2 movies that he really worked on, I don't know much about the 4,000 hours of film and TV, but I guess he just helped with a lot of behind the scenes kind of stuff with film and TV, I'm assuming writing and stuff. But he's mainly known for Rapsittie Street Kids and Dinosaur Island. And after Dinosaur Island, it seemed like the company basically just went on a full decline. They didn't really get popular at all. A lot of criticisms were towards their films, and there just wasn't really much hope with it either, with losing tons of money and just making bad films overall. But still, I feel like they were really interesting films despite the fact that they were so bad. And sadly, in 2019, Collin Slater would pass away from a stroke at the age of 71. He'll probably be remembered for Rapsittie Street Kids and Dinosaur Island, basically as his legacy, but he still worked on tons of other stuff, and he did accomplish a lot of pretty cool things in his life. I mean, how many people have really done all of those hours of television and made films that are so infamously bad that years later people are still talking about them? I mean, this video is kind of proof of it, 2 decades later, and I'm talking about the films that he made. And they were bad films, but they definitely were really interesting. And Collin had a really interesting story to tell, which was the story of Rapsittie Street Kids, Dinosaur Island, and Wolf Tracer Studios. And this is basically the end of the video. My conclusion: Rapsittie Street Kids Believe in Santa is one of the most interesting movies I've ever researched in my life. When going into this, I did not expect to straight up document the entire history of a defunct company, a defunct animation software, and the story of one horrible Christmas movie. but it is definitely a memorable story, and it was really fun researching all of this stuff, to be honest. And this is the end of the video now. Happy holidays and a Merry Christmas to all. Thanks for watching.
Shut that door.
Hey Epic Gamers, sorry for the bad audio quality, but I don't care because I'm recording this really quick. Also, I'm sick right now. I have a stuffy nose, which kind of sucks, and a sore throat, but whatever. First I wanted to say thanks for watching the video if you made it this far. This secret little part, oh my goodness gracious. But anyway, sorry for this video being out kinda late-ish, but you know, it's better to release it late than not release it at all, or wait until next Christmas. But I don't want to do that. So yeah, but this was like a cool year on YouTube. First year back on YouTube, very cool. It's 2024 now, which is cool. 2023 was a really cool year. Good year for me in general. Good year for YouTube. Thanks for all the people who stuck by, watched all the videos. Thanks for all the people who just started watching the videos. Hopefully you enjoyed this one and all the other ones and upcoming videos. And speaking of upcoming videos, I have a super long, probably like multi-hour long video of a mobile game series. I'm not gonna say what it is, but it's a kind of secret little video that I'm gonna be making, and it's gonna be my longest video yet, possibly longer than every video combined, but you know, it's gonna be epic. I'm gonna put full focus on it until I get it finished. It's like 60% done right now. Still have quite a bit to finish with it, but I'm very proud of it so far. It's pretty cool. So look forward to that, and thanks for watching, and happy holidays, happy new year, and Merry Christmas.